All right. Hello. My name is Ayoub Jama, and I am with my partner.
Jomari, Vicencio.
Today we'll be talking about our project one, proper fractions, improper fractions, and mixed numbers. Basically, what we did was we wrote a code that makes the user enter two values, one for the numerator and one for the denominator. And what our code will do is it'll put it in the form of a proper fraction or an improper fraction. For example, if we put in for, let's just say, the number 8 as the numerator and the number 5 as the denominator, it will give us an improper fraction of 8/5, and vice versa. For a proper fraction, the numerator will have to be smaller than the denominator, and it will give us that value. And for the analysis, basically, we used, as you can see in the code, we use int values, we used if else, and else values. Firstly, what is an if value? If value is basically a statement that makes, like, how should I say, that specifies the code, the code area, and it makes sure that the condition is true. And else is actually the opposite of if, as in like it checks the block statement and checks if the conditions are false. And if else is actually the mix of the two. So basically, it'll give one thing if it's true, but it will give another thing if it's false. We also use int values. What is an int value? It's a value that converts a specific value into an integer number, but this also has two basically parameters, like parameters. Firstly, the number that you put into the int value is able to be converted into an integer number. And secondly, then a number representing the number format, pretty much. So let's just say basically any number, 10, 12, for example.
Okay, and so for the code itself, this top part is just asking the user to input the input numbers, so the numerator and the denominator. And then for the second part, we have a couple if statements. This first if statement is whether or not the denominator is 0. So if the denominator is 0, then the system outputs cannot divide by 0. And then else, if the numerator is larger than the denominator. So if the numerator is bigger than the denominator, that would mean it's an improper fraction, and it would create these two values over here. And with those two values, it will determine whether or not it's improper fraction can be turned into a mixed number or be reduced into just a whole number. And then so those if else statements are nested within this, and if neither of those are true, then the system will just output that it's just a regular proper fraction. So the examples that were provided for us were 16/3. That's an improper fraction. Convert it into a mixed fraction. And then 6/7. That's a proper fraction. And then 6/3. That can be reduced to 2. And then this wasn't an example, but put 1 divided by 0 and then cannot divide by 0. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I also put in this try statement over here just to fix a memory leak. I don't know what it does though, so yeah. Okay, that should be good.